Hello everyone. We are discussing RPSC ACF exam previous year papers of physics. So let's start this session. First question is, a magnetized steel wire has a magnetic moment m. If the wire is bent to form a semicircular arc, then new magnetic moment will be. So here a magnetized steel wire has given having magnetic moment m. You should know that magnetic moment m related to the length of the wire as m into L. So this is the magnetic moment, and here small m is the magnetic pole and L is the length of the wire. So by using this relation the you will find the new magnetic moment. So the magnetic moment of a wire having length m is ml. If a wire is bent into a semicircular arc, then the distance between these 2 points means the ends of the wire is 2r. Initially it is L length, and this is now it is, so the new magnetic moment m dash will be m into 2r. Now the length L of a wire will be same as the circumference of this semicircular arc, and the circumference will be of the circle is 2 pi r and the semicircle is pi r. So we can write r in terms of L as L upon pi. Now we put this value of r in this equation, so we get m dash is equals to m into, in place of 2r we will put in place of r we will put L upon pi. So we can write ml 2 upon pi. So this ml is written as magnetic moment m, and 2m, let me write it clearly, 2m upon pi. Now this is the new magnetic moment of a wire which is bent in semicircular arc. So the magnetic moment will reduce by a factor, because the value of pi is more than 2, so the denominator is greater, so the magnetic moment will reduce. So our answer is 2m upon pi, second option. Next question is, 0.3 kg of hot coffee at 70 degrees Celsius is poured into a cup of mass 0.12 kg. What is the final equilibrium temperature? Let the room temperature be 20 degrees Celsius. Given that entropy means specific heat of coffee is 4080 joule per kg Kelvin, and specific heat of cup is 1020 joule kg per Kelvin. From this we should know, we have to find the final equilibrium temperature, means when in a cup a coffee is poured, the temperature of coffee will decrease and the temperature of cup will increase. So the loss in the heat of the the coffee is equals to the gain in the heat of the cup, because the cup is at room temperature and coffee is at high temperature 70 degrees centigrade. So there is an equilibrium temperature between them, which is, let's say, Tf. So this process will come, the conservation of heat will takes place, and we apply the formula for it. So the heat loss for for coffee is equals to heat gain for cup. So the change in heat is equals to dq equals to mass into and specific heat into the change in temperature. So we will write for let m1 s1 will be the mass of the coffee and the specific heat of coffee, and the temperature of coffee, final temperature in the temperature greater for the coffee is 70 degrees centigrade. Let's say we will write it in 70, and the temperature equilibrium temperature is tf because it is smaller, so we write it here. Now m2 will be the mass of cup, and entropy is s2, and the temperature which raised, let equilibrium temperature 5 tf minus initial is at room temperature 20. Guys, we are not changing the degree Celsius into Kelvin, because when we are taking the difference there is no change takes place whether it is Kelvin or degree Celsius. So let's put the units values. So the value of coffee is 0.3 kg into 4080 I think is the heat, specific heat of coffee given in the question, and the temperature is 70 minus Tf is equals to 0.12 kg of cup having specific heat 10. We have to know about the specific 1020 is the specific heat of cup. Okay, so the specific heat of cup is 1020, and temperature of final temperature is equilibrium temperature is Tf minus initially it is 20. So on solving it, 0.3 into 4080 upon 0.12 into 1020 is equals to Tf minus 20 upon 70 minus Tf. So on solving this, Tf comes out, the value of Tf comes out 65.45 degrees Celsius, or you can say it in 65 point approx 5 degrees Celsius. So this is the final equilibrium temperature. So the option which is correct is third option is correct, 65.5 degrees Celsius. There is no need to convert it in Kelvin because it was already given in Celsius, and when we take the difference we will not take convert it into a Kelvin or any other unit, in any other unit. So the next question is, the resistance of a galvanometer coil is 25 ohm and the current required for full scale deflection is 500 microampere. Find the value of resistance to be connected in parallel and series to convert it into an ammeter and voltmeter respectively. Resistance of ammeter is always in parallel with the galvanometer, and the resistance of voltmeter is always in series with the galvanometer. So the formula for this is, when a galvanometer, on converting galvanometer into ammeter, since this is a galvanometer, having resistance, let's say G. This is galvanometer, and we convert it into an ammeter, then an ammeter, a resistance, let's say it's R, sorry, S, let's say it's S, resistance is put it here. So the current through the galvanometer Ig, full scale deflection current, will be equals to S upon, which is the resistance of ammeter, upon S plus G. G is the resistance of galvanometer, into I, the full scale deflection current in ammeter. So all the values are given. We have to find the resistance of ammeter. So the full scale deflection of is 500 microampere galvanometer is, and resistance of galvanometer 25 ohm, and ammeter current is 20.5 milliampere. So we'll put all the values. 500 microampere of current is full scale deflection current for galvanometer. Micro means 10 raised to power minus 6 is equals to shunt resistance, which we have to find, S plus 25 ohm of galvanometer is given, and 20 milliampere, I think 20.5 milliampere current of ammeter is given. So we have put all the values. Now solving this, we get the answer. So S plus 25 upon S will be equals to 20.5 upon 500. 20.5 into 10 raised to power minus 3 upon 500 into 10 raised to power minus 6. So on removing the point, 10 comes here. Now 205 upon 5 into minus 3, and these 3 are also goes upside, so minus 6 plus 6, so it will become 0, and the resistance from here we calculate 41. Now solving this, we get S plus 25 is equals to 41S. So 25 is equals to 40S. So S comes out 25 upon 40. So which is equals to 0.625 ohm. 625 ohm. So the resistance of ammeter is 0.625 ohm. Now in the second case, we have to convert the galvanometer into voltmeter. So we will take the voltmeter in series. So the current in galvanometer is Ig, and voltage of galvanometer voltmeter is V upon resistance of voltmeter and resistance of galvanometer. This is the equation. Now putting the values, 500 microampere means 500 into 10 raised to power minus 6 ampere. V voltage is given, voltage is 512.5 millivolt, full scale is given. So we'll put 512.5 millivolt upon resistance is resistance we have to calculate, and G is 25. So on solving this, we will get the resistance of voltmeter. So R plus 25 is equals to R plus 25 is equals to 512.5. I think it's 512.5 or 512.25. Yes, 0.5. Okay. Millivolt 10 raised to power minus 3 upon 500 microampere. So on solving it, on removing a point 10 comes here, and this becomes 10 raised to power 3, and it will goes upside and becomes minus 6, and this is plus 6. So 5125 upon 5 is equal into 10 raised to power minus 6. This goes upside and becomes plus, so plus 6. R plus 25. So on solving it, we will get R plus 25 is equals to 1025. So R is equals to 1000 ohm. 1000 ohm of resistance is connected in series with a galvanometer to convert it into a voltmeter. So option is 0.625 ohm and 1000 ohm. This is the answer. Now next question is, electric conduction in discharge tubes takes place due to. Electric conduction in discharge tube is given as, since there is a discharge tube having two terminals and it is connected to a battery. Now the current flows from positive to negative. This terminal will be electron deficient, positive terminal, and this is negative terminal. So electron goes from this side to this side, and there is a gas filled in this tube. So these electrons will ionize the gas, and positive and negative ions are also ionize the gas, and which releases the positive and negative ions. So they are also taking part in conduction. So the conduction in discharge tube is take place by electron, positive ions and negative ions, but they will not uh, disintegrate, or you can say protons cannot be ionized by these electrons, because nucleus have high energy and we require higher energy to release the protons and neutrons from the nucleus. So remember one thing, proton and neutron will not take place in this. So answer is positive ions, negative ions and electrons. Next question is, the deflection in moving coil galvanometer falls from 80 division to 40 division when a shunt of 20 ohm is connected across it. What is the resistance of the galvanometer? Here we have to calculate the galvanometer resistance, and current deflection current is falls from 80 divisions to 40 divisions. So we have a galvanometer having some resistance R. Initially the current through the galvanometer is 80 divisions. Okay, but when a shunt is applied or connected in parallel to the galvanometer, then the current is reduces by 40, and the rest of current 40, because the total current was initially 80, so the 40 goes through shunt and 40 will goes through this galvanometer. So the equation, when two resistances are connected in parallel, the voltage drop on both the resistances will be same. Okay, so here we put the voltage of I into R. Let the resistance of the galvanometer is G, and current I through the shunt is into, let the resistance of the shunt is S. So voltage of this wire is equals to the voltage of this wire. So the 40 divisions of current, and G is given as, shunt is given, shunt resistance is given, the galvanometer resistance we have to calculate. So shunt resistance is 20 ohm, so 20 G we have to calculate, and 40 divisions of current are divided, and shunt resistance 20 ohm is taken. So resistance of G is 40 into 20 upon 40, so what will cancel out. So the final resistance of galvanometer is 20 ohm. So our answer will be 20 ohm is the resistance of the galvanometer when a shunt is connected to it. So next question is, an electric current is passed through a circuit containing two wires of same material connected in parallel if the length and the radii of the wires are in ratio 4/3 and 2/3. Then the ratio of the currents passing through the wire will be, okay, so the two wires are given. So the ratio of the lengths of their wire is L1/L2 is given as 4/3, and their radii, ratio of their radii is given as R1/R2 is equals to 2/3. Okay, so we have to calculate the current through the wire I1/I2. So we all know that I1/I2 means current I is equals to V/R. So remember here, wires are connected in parallel, so voltage drop on these wire will be same. So this term will be same and resistance will be different, and they are made up of same material, so their resistivity will be also same. So the resistivity will be same and the voltage will be same. So the formula comes out. First of all, you should know that the resistance, relation between resistance and resistivity. Resistance R is equals to rho L upon A. Here L is the length of the wire and A is the cross-sectional area. So let R1 will be the length resistance of first wire, L1 upon A1. Rho will be same, so we'll take rho. Now we can write area, cross-sectional area is of any wire or any circular thing is pi r square. So pi r1 square we will take. So since we are taking here the ratios, so we will not take pi because it is also a constant term. So I will take only r1 square. Okay, for simplicity I will take that pi also, because someone if confused. R2 is equals to rho L2 upon pi area of another wire R2 square. So on taking the ratio, we will get the ratio of resistances. So I1 upon I2 is equals to V upon R1 upon V upon R2. So V will be cancelled out, and ultimately the ratio is in terms of resistance will be R2 upon R1. So the resistance of second wire is rho L2 upon area, which is pi R2 square, divided by rho L1 upon area of wire first is pi r1 square. So rho will be cancelled out and pi will be cancelled out, and the ratio will be I1 upon I2 is equals to L2 upon L1 and R1 upon R2 square. So the ratio of L2 upon L1 will be this question. So the ratio of L2 upon L1 will be 3 by 4 and R1 upon R2 is 2 by 3. So it will be 3 by 4 and the ratio of R1 upon R2 will be 2 by 3. So taking its square, now 3 by 4 into 4 by 9. This is 4 by 9. Now 4 is cancelled out and the ratio will remain is I1 upon I2 is equals to 1 by 3. This is the ratio of the currents in these wires. This is the final ratio. Now the answer is 1 by 3. Next question is, a sound absorber attenuates the sound level by 20 decibel. This results in the decrease of intensity by a factor of. Here the there you should know about the formula. Loudness of the sound is given as L equals to 10 log base 10 into I, which is the intensity initially, and I naught is the intensity of the sound, original intensity of the sound, and I is the intensity which converts by this loudness L. Now since the sound is attenuated, so let's take the L1 is the loudness initially and I1 is the intensity initially, and I naught is the standard intensity of sound. Now and L2 is the intensity after attenuation. So L2 is equals to 10 log log base 10 I2 upon I naught. Taking I naught is, this is I2 upon I naught. So the difference, which means that attenuation between them is given as 20 decibel. So L1 minus L2 is equals to 10 log I1 upon I naught minus of 10 log I2 upon I naught. So this is 20 decibel given, 10 will be common. Log A minus log B is log A upon log B. So log, here A is I1 upon I naught upon log B means I naught will goes upside and I2 will be in downside. So I naught will cancel out. So the formula comes 20 is equals to 10 log base 10 I1 upon I2. I am writing it in this way, I1 upon I2. So 20 upon 10 is equals to log base, having base 10 I1 upon I2. So this will become 2, and when This 10 will goes in power of 2 will be in the power of 10 because this base will goes this side then, and this will become I1 upon I2. Sorry, it is I2. Now the intensity is attenuates by the factor of I1 is equals I2 is equals to I1 by 100. Means the intensity will attenuate by a factor of 100 of the initial intensity. So the answer is sound 100. Second option will be the answer. So that's all for today. I hope you all understand all the questions very well, and please subscribe my channel if you like my videos and understand my questions very well, and share it to more and more peoples, and practice more and more questions. So thanks for watching. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.